laps of racing, and finally, after doing everything right, he crosses the line here in Abu Dhabi for the first Christmas race for JCC events. He's going to win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and is the winner of the grand prize tonight. £100 then going to lead off.
Right then, everybody, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the Tuesday division at 8 p.m. of the MOR Esports. First time back for me here, and of course the one where I all started back in, I think, September last year. And first one back after the holidays, so nice to be back. And brand new season has begun. The second round here in Spain. I did miss Zandvoort, where Saban took the win from second on the grid. Pole position then taken by George Russell, but he didn't even finish inside of the top 10, unfortunately for him that day in Zandvoort. So Saban, off the back of a win, then coming here into Spain and on his way to a potential pole position if he can master this track. Of course, we've got a full grid for the Tuesday division this evening. Very, very full pack and a lot of fast people in the session this evening. I recognise a lot of people here. Absolutely by far my favourites here is Romeo Blues down with the 14.290, the quickest time, the first time of the evening for him. Then goes Tesco Meal Deals, Oliver in third, and three people already with lap times on. MR Blake coming round, Daryl sets third on the start, Mikey Boy coming off the back of a second place. It might have been just on the podium actually in third in Monaco. Now here for eighth, but on his first time in a minute. Nova Piper now goes quickest with a 14.0. And Nova Piper finished P10 in Zandvoort last week. MCL across the line with a 13.9. He finished in P7 in Zandvoort. It is fourth place on the grid for him, so did lose 3 places unfortunately, but still backed himself a nice 16 points for the World Championship. And of course that will be 16 points to the first round for P7. There's Mikey Boy for second place, beaten by Saban to the top of the timing board. And as I just mentioned him, of course, taking the win, taking second place on the grid in Zandvoort. He turns up in Spain to do it all again. 13.285 then on pole position provisionally here by a good 0.6 of a second so far. I'm sure that is going to be beaten very soon, though. That is only a banker lap here for Saban. The same with everybody else's lap times. There's a lot of time to add and build onto the previously set laps. As across the line for Sander, I believe a commentator in this league now, as I've seen his name cropping around in the commentators' chats. A 13.455. He now sets second place, so good at the racing as well, I guess. George Russell for third with a 13.4. A nice lap from George Russell. Of course, took pole in Zandvoort. Can he do that here today? He's only 0.2 of a second off of it as Ace taking the quickest lap time by about 0.07 of a second here over Saban. And Ace goes quickest, doing exceptionally well at the moment for him. From Saban, from Sander, George Russell, Danny. We're going to try and find some more lap times here. Going straight through a marker board is Karmad Kyle. Romeo Blues in P10 has invalidated, unfortunately. Daryl's on the track, up by 3.5 of a second in the middle sector. I think it was 3.5 tenths on the first sector as well. So it's been a very consistent lap for the Ferrari. Just keeping this lap time in the green. And now round towards the final 2 corners of this Spanish track. Can Daryl take a higher grid spot from P14 and across the line? He does go up to P9 with a nice improvement. Scooters TV, hi again JC, hi again in chat. Hello mate, welcome back into the stream. Nice to have you with us tonight for the 8 p.m. Tuesday division. I've got to say, my favourites here that we do in this entire league is absolutely brilliant. The racing is always good as well, especially at a track like this. So I think Maloon is just set 7th, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, Maloon set in 7th place there with a 13.889. And across the gravel for him at the minute. How's it going tonight? Who do we think will get top 3? So Scooters TV putting me on the spot. But by looking at Zandvoort's results, I think Saban's going to be in the top 3 without a doubt. I think George Russell's going to have a better day, and I'm going to say Danny gets himself in the podium places as well. Mikey says 10 constructors in the top 10. He's absolutely right as well. You don't see that very often. And this championship is going to shape up really nicely. It is an eight-round calendar. And if you want to see the calendar and the results and the standings and the drivers and penalties and all of the information of the tiers, make sure you get yourself over to the MOResports.com website, because you can find it all out from there. If you want to know the different ins and outs and a few premium features, it is pretty damn cheap to sign up to premium. And of course, all of the money does help out the league as well with running it. But a lot of options on there as well, and definitely worth doing, especially as a commentator, to be honest. It is quite interesting to see what actually happened during the race that I wasn't there. I can basically tell exactly what happened with this website, which is absolutely brilliant for commentary. But Malone on the track, and we didn't catch his first sector, but by the looks of it, he is on a lap as burning his battery is actually invalidated. He's not invalidated, sorry. He's on the low fuel mode, which could point towards the fact that he's going to go into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Mr. Mikey Boy will be on the track and getting ready for a lap very soon. Saban's already out there again, down towards turn 1. We're going to stay with Saban for now then, in second place. I'm expecting big things from him, taking second place on the grid then here in Zandvoort, and now he's going to have to try and do that again. Or even better, of course, would like that pole position, what everybody's going for. But in the first sector, only up by 1,000th of a second. Absolutely nothing in it at all for the Cadillac. Still trying to find a bit of time. Middle sector to come. Not as tight and technical as many. Apart from this left-hander where you have to get the turn in right, because the exit can completely mess up this next corner. All the way towards the right-hander now. 75% battery. Saban looks like he's slowed down on the lap time. Let's go back to Mikey Boy here then, who is on a lap and found a 10th of a second in the first sector, up overall and in the green delta so far. Potentially a distance over on the driver in never mind, he's nowhere near. Might get a little bit on the straight, but Oliver with a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with MOR Blake. Collision equals 5-place grid penalty for him. So wherever he starts will be 5 places further back then in the Grand Prix coming up after this short qualifying session. Everybody moves out of the way for F1 Mikey Boy as he powers through to the end of this lap here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Mikey Boy, though, into the pit lane and ends off this lap for a moment. MCL now crosses the line, though, and it does improve by a 10th and a half on that previous lap time. P8 for him. Malone should be coming into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Danny is up by a 10th, nearly 2/10 of a second in Sector 1. Let's stay on board here with the Haas, who gets a little bit of understeer going into the left-hander there. Does manage to catch the car, though, now into the left-hander once again. Make sure the exit's on point, which it is, back on the power. The car looks really stable through the middle sector at the moment, down towards the end of Sector 2. A few cars in front of him might cause a bit of traffic potentially, but they look like they're getting a move on. Danny now only up by 0.08 of a second overall, where once upon a time he was up by 2/10 of a second in that first sector. He's lost time in the middle. Now the final third needs to come alive for him, and he has a little bit of battery left, but you need a little bit more then to get round this final turn. Runs out of battery, down to 50% of his available power. Danny across the line in the Haas then. Is it going to be any improvement? He's 0.06 of a second down, and as that happens, Saban in the Cadillac with 6.5 minutes to go goes on to provisional pole then by only 0.07 of a second over Ace's first time around, I think that was. That is Saban's second run. I'm expecting big things from Ace here then when he goes round again, which he is on a lap right now, and in the early stages here in qualifying. Towards the end of Sector 1 then, he's 1.6 seconds down his Ace, so can't be on a lap time then, being this much down. Let's go to George Russell. He's just improved by 0.08 of a second across the line. Still P3 though, isn't good enough to gain any places, and crucial places here at the top. As Danny moves out of the way, of course, previous world champion in the Tuesday division. But a lot of drivers in the pit lane, a few on out laps, most of them on push laps, but actually maybe the in laps at the minute. Nova Piper has found a whole 1/10 of a second on the previous lap. Ace goes into the pit lane. Sanders on the track as well, but with the low fuel mode, he might struggle to finish this lap. He is 2/10 of a second down. We expect him into the pit lane at the end of this one. As drivers starting to come out of the pit lane. Nova Piper on his way around then through the middle sector in the McLaren. P11 at best for him. His teammate is Carmad Kyle down in P15 with a 14.1. Nova with a 13.9. He's down by 0.05 of a second now in the middle sector. The final third to come. But is it going to be good enough for him to take a higher grid spot? P11 at best for Nova. As it is 0.03 of a second found, but not enough there to change the order. Best Noah improved by 0.5 second apparently on the last lap. Not bad at all for him. As Oliver across the line. I can't tell if he's just finished the lap or on one. I think he's just starting one now. He's on 60% battery, so he would have used it around the final turn. Regenerates into turn one, 80% now, and he's going to get back on the boost now. Well, in a moment, hopefully. Yes, does boost for a moment, then turns it straight off. Battery runs down then, hits rock bottom, 35%. Back up to this, the first sector, and it's 0.03 of a second found in lost in that first sector. So down for Oliver in the Mercedes. Not going the way he'd like it to go so far. Ooh, off the track for Oliver. And that lap is definitely done and dusted with now in P21. A 14.7 is his best. Needs at least a 1/10.5 to get to Luke M's time, and bottled it completely going off the track into the gravel trap. Let's go to Emmanuel then, who is flat out down towards turn one here in Barcelona. Can the Mercedes set a better time? He's doing much better than his teammates so far, Oliver, who we've just been on board with. Now Emmanuel coming round for a better lap time and already looking good. Nearly 2/10 found in sector one. Yellow flags in front of him. Hopefully it doesn't mess up his lap that much. The Ferrari is the problem, and is the Ferrari going to get in the way on the inside line here? Emmanuel moves to the outside to get through. Looked like he let off the throttle a bit there, but it could have been to lift and coast, or could it have been from that Ferrari? I'm not too sure. Emmanuel to the right hand side then. The grip looking good, and the car looking very stable towards sector two. First sector is up on time. Has he kept it in the green? He's up by 0.04 of a second on this lap. So has lost time, and we did see that story earlier on with somebody. I can't remember who it was, but the first sector was, I think it might have been Mikey. First sector was up by nearly 2/10. Then the middle sector, looks like they lost about a 1/10.5, which isn't really ideal. But Emmanuel might have saved it towards the line. Across the line for him, it's actually 1.3 seconds down then for the Mercedes. A horrific lap, unfortunately, not where he wants to be at all, but still not in a bad spot of 7th place. And George Russell on an out lap, Saban as well. Saban, in fact, about to start a flying lap, and he is definitely one we want to go on board with and stay with. I'm going to watch Saban now for one of his final push laps, surely. We're in the closing stages of this qualifying session. The Cadillac have got some work to do here if he wants to put a bit of breathing room between him and Ace behind him. The Audi is going to give it everything and only needs 0.07 of a second. That's basically just trying to equal the lap you did beforehand with the tiniest little bit on top. And a track like this, you can absolutely find 0.07 of a second. Ace is going to be on provisional pole here if Saban can't do anything about it. What can this Cadillac do? Can he find enough time? Lifting and coasting massively through there. Back up to 100%. He can't be on the lap time here, surely. Looks like he slowed down massively here. Yeah, he has. Slowing down then has the Cadillac. Might be going for another run. 3.5 seconds down. Ace is about to start another lap. George Russell is down towards the first corner. They're now starting one more lap in towards turn 1 for the Williams. His teammate Tesco down in 15. Nowhere to be seen compared to George Russell in third, who took pole in Zandvoort last round. And that's his end goal for today as well, and only needs about 1/10.5 to just about get over that line. 400ths of a second found in sector 1. Might not be a bad lap here. It's 2/3 of the lap to come. Maybe his first sector was good to begin with, and that's why he's not found too much. That can be the case in some situations. You might see a dramatic jump in time found in the middle sector now. That might be where he needs to find the time. Waiting to the side there, the Audi, as George Russell flies through. 300 kilometers an hour now for him. Down towards the end of sector 2, it's 800ths of a second found, so does find a bit more. But not enough still to take provisional pole. Could be enough for the front row of the grid if he finds an extra 10th on top in the final sector. It's flat out now around the final corner, but not really much battery to get him there. 1% left to boost, and across the line for George Russell. 200ths of a second down, and the Williams taking third at best here in qualifying today in Barcelona. Saban then might be on another lap time here. It looked like it was purple through the middle sector. We've just seen that on the track map. Saban around the final few corners, and as I think Ace crosses the line here, Ace does snatch pole position. Saban around the final turn. Is it good enough to take it back again? 2/10 found, and a 112 into the 112s for him, but it is not enough to take pole position away from Ace here in Barcelona, as the Audi at the moment in P1. But how long can he stay there for? Can he hold it, as it's not looking like anybody's able to find any more time or any drastic time here. Tesco meal deals round to find a little bit of time in the middle sector. Now around the final third, he makes a bit of contact with somebody on the exit there as well. Across the line for him, it'll be P16 now for him. MCL will cross the line in P8. And Carmad Card is in the pit lane, taking 7th position here. But on pole position, here it's the circuit, Barcelona, Catalunya. It is Ace in the Audi on pole position from Saban's second place on the front row of the grid. George Russell in third, Danny 4, and Sander for the top 5 starting grid. Only 2 drivers make it into the 1-minute 12s. The majority of the drivers in the 1-minute 13s. It is a really close quali in the mid-pack, split by only a few hundredths or in some cases thousandths of a second. If you look between Malone and Darrell, they're all in the 13.7s. So close between time. It's quicker than a blink of an eye. As here is your finishing results then, ladies and gentlemen, for the Barcelona Catalunya Grand Prix short qualifying session. It is Ace on pole then by 1/10 of a second over Saban on second place on the front row. George Russell is joined by Danny on the second row. Sander and Emmanuel then occupy the third row of the grid. It's Carmad, Kyle and MCL on the fourth row. And Malone and Tom B round off that fifth row of the grid. Tom taking 10th place here, rounding off the top 10. Next up then, the Grand Prix. It should be a good one. It always is good on the Tuesday, I have to say. It's Barcelona, a track that I've done a lot recently, but always an exciting one. Long run down towards turn 1 as well when the drivers get going. And of course, there's the elevation change as well, how the track actually dips down. But while we're here, I'm waiting for the formation lap. I'm just going to really quickly, on the website, have a look at the calendar, just to let you know what calendar we've got coming up for the Tuesday season. So 8 p.m. Zandvoort's happen, of course, we're here in Barcelona. The next round is Yas Marina for the third round. Losail in Qatar for round 4. It's the Marina Bay Circuit, Singapore for 5. The Hungaroring in Hungary in 6. Monaco in 7. And the 8th round of the season, the final round, is Suzuka in Japan. So they should be quite decent. It's actually not looking like a bad season. A lot of those tracks I really like. So a very good choice of a season, of a calendar. Have a look at how Saban did. Saban won the last race, and on the pace rating, he was actually rated P2 out of the drivers. I don't know who took P1 with the pace rating. It might have been the guy behind him, was Zen potentially. It was. Zen actually had the pace apparently, but maybe on strategy then, Saban beat him in the previous race. It's actually really interesting to see it though. A 2-stop strategy as well. 13 battles for Saban, 9 won, 3 overtakes. Love that. Absolutely brilliant stats. Well, it'll be good to look at them from the end of this race in Barcelona when we get there in about 40 to 45 minutes time. Of course, formation lap to start first of all. Jacobs gaming in the chat says easy 1-stop here in Spain. Let's see what the drivers decide to do. We saw some 2-stop strategies in Monaco earlier on. What strategy are we going to see here in Barcelona? It's probably the longest the drivers have actually waited to ready up. Oh my. Normally have a short little break. I think we'll be going very soon though. Best Noah's is going now. Appreciate that. Thank you, mate. Well, there we go. On the grid and the formation lap to begin. First of all, with the Audi pulling off from Saban, from George Russell, Danny and Sander in the top 5. A good lineup of drivers here. And in my opinion, the best lineup of drivers we have in this league. I'm a bit biased because this has been my tier all along, but they're very fast. Really, really are quick in this tier. I seem to remember Thursday being pretty quick as well. But I feel like this is even quicker. Ace took pole then this afternoon and qualified in P3 in Zandvoort. So 2 places higher than his last qualifying place. It's looking a bit better for the Audi today. Of course, Saban took 2nd place on the grid. Saban now taking 2nd place again, but he did go on to win the Dutch Grand Prix last week from 2nd place on the grid. Can Saban do that again here today? In the pace rating, it was saying that Ace was actually the quicker driver, even though he finished in 2nd place at the end of the race. Of course, Saban went ahead and won it. Was that because of a better strategy call or maybe safety cars that came out at the end? How's this going to pan out? We basically have the same story, but it is Ace starting from pole instead of 3rd place today. So it does get the jump on Saban. Something tells me that Audi is going to run away with it if he has the pace here in Spain. His teammate is down in 18th, Luke M. Teammates never seem to be near each other for some reason in the Tuesday division. Everybody's so massively spread out across the leaderboard. But the leading Audi of Ace then lines up in his front grid spot. And down towards turn 1. He's on the outside of the track, down towards the first corner. Saban will have the inside line. Expect him to make a lunge down towards the first corner. Commentated here, I think yesterday, it might have been for another league. It might have been for MOR, I'm not too sure. But the leaders ran each other off the track. And always brings some good racing action. The lights then, everybody in front of the drivers here in Spain. Ace in the Audi from pole, and the drivers get away well. It's lights out and away we go then here in the Tuesday 8 p.m. division, and down towards the first corner. It's Ace against Saban. A duel in towards turn 1. Who comes out in front? Ace on the outside line trying to hang on. He will get the inside through the next set of corners, and the advantage too. Ahead of Saban for now, but with the battery power, he is going to generate and try and use a little bit to get in front here to his advantage. Can Saban take a late lunge into the inside? stays smart, stays behind, doesn't use too much battery on the start, and Ace will hold P1 through the first set of corners. George Russell then in third. Danny 4 is Emmanuel 5, and up the inside for Sander, who's trying to make some places up on the start. Sander now back to where he started. Behind that, a little bit of action going on too, but here comes the Alpine of Sander, just trying to get through past the Mercedes, who he pushes off wide. Emmanuel down to 7th position and losing places even more. 8th place, and might even lose out to the McLaren behind that too. But a great start for the drivers, especially Ace. The top 5 all in the exact same places as where they started a few moments ago. No position changes in the top 5 at the minute. No one able to rattle them as Darrell and Tom B in 10 11. These guys battle away. Behind that, the McLaren of Nova Piper looking really feisty, trying to get ahead of the Aston Martin of Best Noah. They head round the final corner, then 33 laps of racing here in Spain, and onto the second lap already. Quick laps around here, I have to admit. Really, really quick laps. It was the same with Monaco as well earlier on. Emmanuel looks for a move up the inside there. Looks for a gap. Didn't open up for him on this occasion. And the top 5 basically untouched. Not really running away with it either like I thought they would. Ace with 4/10 of a second to Saban. Saban with 3/10 to George Russell. Danny not too far behind that as well. Sanders still involved. The Mercedes of Emmanuel tries to make a late lunge there on F1 Mikey Boy, the league owner. But decides that might not be the best choice. Carmad Kyle then is going to try and catch up as well in the McLaren as he does start to catch up. A few tenths of a second, but not enough to make anything permanent in a minute. Oh, here's a McLaren on the backside, then up the inside for Nova Piper on Best Noah, sending that McLaren through, just hoping that it makes it through in one piece. It's hanging it on the outside, won't be enough to keep in front, and I think that Aston Martin's outdone him on pace. Best Noah still trying to push on, and he has just about beaten Nova Piper to the line here. P12 for the Aston Martin for a minute, but Nova's of course going to come back with 50% battery. Doesn't want to burn too much. He is burning too much. This could be a problem for him. All the way down to 25%. Burnt quite a bit there and doesn't give himself the time to regenerate either. 46% for him, but Best Noah, to be honest, only on 35. Battery management not going as well for him. There's round the outside for Sander as he eyes up a move here on the Haas of Danny F31. Can't make the pass at the minute, but he's trying to get involved on a world champion here. And Danny won't be having any of it at the moment, as he is putting him off as well at the front. Keep an eye on the battle at the front of this pack. It's Ace against Saban. The gap that was once 4/10 of a second did just come down to 2. Now gone back up to 4. And I don't know why. It could be something to do with the battery management here, because Saban's on 60%. Ace is actually on 50, meaning he has used some. That could explain why he's able to just extend this gap out every now and then. Fastest middle sector as well. So the pace so far looking on the side of Ace. As he heads round the final turn, it'll be foot flat to the line to take the 4th lap of 33 already. And Ace against Saban. Saban now trying to catch him in the Cadillac. Just can't do it just yet. Behind that, though, these guys aren't waiting, are they? Danny and Sander finally start battling away through the first few corners. Danny up the inside manages to hold his place, hold his own. Sander's going to try and come back at him, though, with no battery left. Both of them run out then. Sander a little bit later on, though, and it won't be enough to get fully in front, but he does try and take his car around the outside line. But with the battery running out on him, it will not be enough to make that move. Done and dusted, round goes the Alpine. Tries to get through past the world champion. But Sander this time around finds himself spinning around and down to 16th position, down 11 places as well. Started in 5th place this afternoon. Nova Piper looking quite close to Tom B here as well. It could be a potential move. Oh, here we go. Up the inside line with the Mercedes. Emmanuel on the McLaren of Carmad Kyle, who gets pushed off wide slightly. Through goes Emmanuel. Gets the room made for him and goes into 7th position with a great overtake. Let's have a look at the tyres then, see what the drivers are deciding to do. Majority here, nearly every single person on the medium tyres, as Saban mounts the challenge on Ace, and for the first time today might actually get in front with a late lunge towards turn 1. We all know you can make a move through there, but then the driver who was on the outside will take the inside through the next corner, and that has allowed Ace to once again stay in front. Really, if you are being overtaken through there, you still will have the upper hand, depending on how late on they make the move. Saban then trying to get through past Ace once more, and now George Russell is on the scene taking pole. In the previous race, wasn't able to do that today, but is able to fight on the leaders. And right on the rear end of them, these guys squabbling away like they are, they're going to crash at some point to carry on like this, and George Russell will be in the right place to pick up all of the pieces that they leave. As Saban's starting slowly to catch up on Ace. The gap actually does now drop to half a second now, and it is confusing because Ace in the final sector somehow is managing to just pull the gap back. Around the final turn on the 5th lap, going on to the 6th lap. The laps are flying by here, I have to admit. George Russell catching Saban in the Williams then. Can George Russell make the pass we've all been waiting for? He's still a bit too far back for it. Let's just wait back behind. Anything going on from the pack behind us? Matt Connor just ahead of Nova Piper. Watch along for Nova because he's getting ready to pounce definitely when there's a move opening up. Tesco as well getting overtaken. Best Noah through the first set of corners here. Best Noah into P16. Tesco down to 17 and a bit helpless in that situation. Can't do anything. So here comes Tesco again with the inside and a little bit more pace. I thought he'd get through and make it work, but Best Noah once again managing to rebound back and switching back underneath. These guys are taking it all the way through the lap. Wheel banging now all the way to the left-hand side. It's going to be Tesco that clears him, and for the first time today, will take 16th position ahead of him. Still Ace in front, and as your leader from pole position, clearly has a lot of pace at the minute. But honestly, Saban with this kind of pace and holding on, I think if he keeps it up, if he gets through past Ace, he might start to run away slightly and be able to build a few tenths a lap. I really think he could do it. Saban trying to catch up on that leader. When is this move going to happen for the Cadillac? She's making us wait for it now here in Spain. 7 laps in of 33, and the top 3 only within a few tenths of a second, all on the mediums as well. So realistically, they should all be on the same plan A strategy. Of course, until a safety car comes out, and then things change. That was an awful snap there for George Russell of oversteer. The back end nearly came out from underneath him. Just about managed to save it. Saban catching up on Ace. Gap to 2 tenths again, but watch Ace now in that final third. A lot better at pulling away, and it might actually be because Saban is managing the battery, and actually I think that's what it is. You can tell here, Ace boosts a little bit to keep himself in front. Saban really not doing it until this final corner. Now boosting again for Saban around the final turn, 70%, and he'll stop boosting across the line. Down to about 40% now, and about to mount the challenge on the leader. Once again trying to make that overtake, but he slips back underneath and just waits for the right time. Clearly this time not able to do it. There's a big train of drivers from about P5 all the way down to about P13 here are in a bit of a pack down towards the first few corners. So Ferrari looks like he was about to try and move there on Carmad Kyle. Looked for a gap up the inside. When he got there, realised there was no space for him and had to back out at the end. It's Tom B's getting involved as well in the Cadillac. His teammates doing exceptionally well up in second place. Equally, he's doing okay as well, trying to make his way through the pack. He is in the same place as where he started, so could be a lot worse, to be honest. As a Red Bull of F1 Mikey Boy heads this pack, as I mentioned, that goes probably all the way down to about P12. And at the back of this little pack, it is Matt Connor in 12th position with a McLaren of Nova Piper in front of him. As I mentioned, Mikey Boy leads this little pack. And in front of him is Danny, the top 5, all within a few tenths of a second. Can Saban this time around go for the move? Once again, tries to look for it, but just doesn't have the edge on the leader. Both on about the same amount of battery as well, but has a little bit more this time. And through boosting, nearly runs himself off the track on that right-hander. Such a weird corner. Has to actually let off the throttle to make sure he gets round the turn effectively, and that is going to make him lose a little bit of time. Well, Ace out in front, and he has been the absolute best driver we had here today. A great battle from the front, but Saban just not being able to come close enough at the minute to actually get in front. And I think it does rely on Saban having the perfect lap and Ace having a bit of a mistake throughout the lap for him to catch up and get through. Once again, falling short. Tesco Mildils and Best Noah fight away still. Mildils up to 16th place. Can Best Noah take the inside line here as they are side by side through the final turn here in Spain and up towards the line? You can see the Aston Martin clearly has the pace. He is boosting a bit too much here though. Will run out of battery before they get there. Onto the grass. Nearly 0% battery for Best Noah as he tries to get through past the Williams, who just closes the door on him. Once again boosting on the battery. This is it. The Williams now has been able to regenerate a little bit more. Will run out again. Both on 0 now towards the right-hander. And this is the problem with some of the guys at the back struggling because the battery management just isn't as refined. Oh, round goes the Mercedes of Emmanuel into the barrier. Resets to track as the front wing gets heavily damaged. Didn't even look real. He got punted from behind and it was a 360 spin into the barrier then for the Mercedes, as he got back on really quickly, and now already making overtakes on the Audi. Up the inside into 14. Luke M gets overtaken here. As you are 11 laps in of 33, 22 more to go. As Darrell might be able to get ahead of Carmad Kyle here, as you can just see him starting to catch a little bit. These guys, some of them boosting all the way down towards turn 1 and still being able to regenerate the battery is quite impressive. Romeo Blues the 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane here. And now Darrell coming back at him. Carmad Kyle then in 8. Darrell gets overtaken. Once again, the McLaren goes down to 8th position here. As Emmanuel and Romeo Blues both in the pit lane get on new tyres. Mediums for for Romeo Blues and hards for Emmanuel. Sidemen goes through to P20 here and gets past the pit stop drivers. Mullen and Best Noah, the teammates, swap places here. Malone goes into 15th. Of course, no. Oh, there might be points on off 15th, actually, yes, because that's why we've got 35. No, never mind. The points stop at P16. 7 points for P16, and it stops from there. Oh no, never mind. It does go down, but there's just DNFs in the last race. So all the way down till P22 is points, I believe. As Balloon starting to catch up on his teammate Tesco. Yellow flags for a Mercedes in the second sector who may have gone round there. Malone just catching up here on that Williams of Tesco in front. Can't get past just yet. I'm sure it will happen soon though, as these guys at the front are all still within a few tenths of a second. The top 3 especially very close to each other. And the Cadillac this time 3/10, and to be honest, for him to be close enough around the final turn and down towards turn 1, I think he needs to be at least 2/10 around here. Has boosted a bit more. Now the gap comes to a 10th. The final corner needs to be good. I think Ace gets the final turn a bit better than Saban. But foot flat to the floor then for the Cadillac. This could be the time. He's going to burn a little bit more then on the driver in front and still stays behind. Honestly, I think this is intentional for Saban at this point. I think he could have got in front by now. I think he's staying behind on purpose and might just pounce when it's time to do so. All on the same tyres. I'm excited to see when they go into the pit lane, to see what kind of strategy they're all deciding to do. It's probably just going to be medium to hard here. There's pit stops now for MCL and Carmad Kyle as well. 2 drivers in the pit lane. As Ace from Saban, from George Russell, the top 3 still within a few attempts. Then from Danny, who has dropped back a little bit. F1 Mikey Boy in 5, then Daryl 6, Tom B 7, Nova Piper 8, Matt Connor 9. As Malone picks up his first time penalty of the afternoon. And these guys are close, aren't they? Malone on his teammate, tries the inside, has to back out, as there wasn't enough room for him to make a pass, but he clearly has got the pace on his teammate here, so expect some more overtakes from them. Never mind, speak of that, he falls down to P16 and slows down, so not too sure what's going on with Malone there. The George Russell and Danny, the leaders basically in P3 and P4, are in the pit lane. Mediums come off, hards come on. Should be the same for Danny as well. As the Haas team get ready for the pit stop, the mediums come off and the hards come on again. Same story all around the pit lane for Danny and everybody else. Medium to hard for nearly everybody apart from the guys that started on the softs or the hards. Well, here is Best Noah then trying to get ahead of MCL. Can't do so at the moment. As Matt Connor as well getting ahead of Nova Piper. We've just missed a move from them around the outside for the Ferrari. That was a beautiful overtake that he would have made there. The McLaren will try and fight it back if I can go on to him. Nova Piper just trying to fight back here on the Ferrari. Catching up to the inside line. Knows you don't make a move through there. Has a lot of battery to use though, compared to Matt Connor, who only has 20%. That's the difference here. Can Nova Piper get in front of Matt on battery management? As Ace makes a pit stop at the front as well. This is huge. Ace at the front decides to go on the pit stop. And for him, hoping that that works out for him to come out ahead of Ace here. Of Saban. As Nova Piper in the pit lane as well. And Tom B making the same decisions. Saban continues on. And honestly, I expect him to probably come in next lap and react to the driver, of course, he was battling along with up at the front. As MCL picks up the fastest lap of the Grand Prix at the moment. A lot of pit stops coming in. Drivers getting brand new tyres on. And this should be hard till the end, unless we get a safety car, which we haven't had yet. We didn't have a single safety car in Monaco, which is just insane. And right now, not looking like we're going to get a safety car in Spain as well. Nobody's retired, and this never, ever happens. 15 laps in, and not a single soul out of the session yet. It's been a clean race. This is why the Tuesday race is always the best at 8 p.m. I mean, the tier that the league started with all the way in September last year, you'd expect it to be the best. Mikey Boy has got his sights set on Daryl in front. As he is in the pit lane now, as well as, Mikey and Matt Connor both in. Right then, Mikey Boy coming out of the pit lane. Carmad Kyle comes through and does get past him now. He has also made his pit stop, of course, so looks like pitting early, or earlier than the competitors, might be the strategy here. Carmad in front, I think Mikey's going to get through, though, to be honest. It should be an easy pass for him. As he is starting to catch up. Just waiting, though, for Saban, Daryl and Blake, to come into the pit lane. And then we can really see what the effect these pit stops has had on the race and on the drivers' positions today. Saban's in the pit lane. Here we go, then. Watch along with this, ladies and gentlemen. We need to see where Ace is going to end up. What's going to happen here? Saban in for new tyres. Bearing in mind he has stayed out 2 laps longer than Ace did, who was in front of him for a long time, but there were only a few tenths of a second between them. This is going to be very close coming out of the pit lane now. Here is Ace then down the straight. He's looking like he's going to come out of the pit lane ahead of Saban. Saban on his way out. It's going to be level down towards turn 1, but just about in front is Ace. And getting pushed off then in front of that, the leaders off the track for the Williams of George Russell then, who goes airborne for a moment. And he's got Blake catching him up now in 3rd place for a potential move at the inside. A late lunge he tries. The door gets closed on him though, and that's going to bring Ace now on the scene. Ace takes the inside. He led the race then, of course, for about 15 laps earlier on. Now trying to make his way back through the pack and already making his dent on 3rd place. Next up to overtake them will be George Russell in 3rd now for Ace. And we have to wait for Saban as well. And this is actually really good for Ace's case here if he can get in front of George Russell quickly. Because at the minute, Saban's being held behind Blake, who is still trying to pass, and he's on the outside, but it's not definite that he'll make this through. He hasn't made it through at the moment. The Cadillac, though, with a little bit more speed on the inside as the corners change. He does take that inside, and through goes Saban. So now behind Ace. That still has lost him. He's 0.8 of a second behind. He has lost time in doing that. And now Ace is going to lose a bit of time trying to get through past George Russell, but can he make it quick down towards turn 1? I think he can. Looking for the outside line, braking hard. Just can't get through just yet. But switching back underneath, the Williams doesn't know which way to turn. Ace tries the outside. Not enough speed for him there, or enough grip either, even though he's on the new tyres. And he will just have to wait back for now. Ace coming back and makes contact with George Russell in the Williams. A bit of a push to pass move, to be honest, for Ace, but he does still get through past George Russell, who now has been kicked from the session, leaves the session and losing places. So Saban and Ace fighting away, and for the first time today, Saban goes through past Ace in the Cadillac. Into 2nd place he goes. Daryl in front still needs to make a pit stop, so on the lead in the Spanish Grand Prix is Saban here in the Cadillac for the first time ever today, coming round to start lap 19. There's Saban ahead. Daryl now in the pit lane. George Russell 3rd. It's Ace in the pit lane again, and that must have been wing damage for him to come in once more, surely here. The main rival of Saban, the main leader of this race, comes in for a new wing. It must have been bad damage on that Audi to get it changed this quickly. Comes in to get it sorted, but that is it's very bad for his race. It's down to 15. He needs a safety car. The two McLarens end up changing places down the back straight. Through goes Nova Piper, and he's on and trying to catch Tom B now, who's next ahead of him. Gap between them, 0.6 of a second, nearly 7 now, as we only have 13 laps to go. So here comes Tom B, catching Mikey Boy down towards the first corner. Getting ever closer and pulling to the outside line. Can he get in front here Tom B on a move then on the Red Bull. I think he is going to get through, giving it absolutely everything. Mikey Boy is still trying to hold it though, and his defensive tactics still working into 5th. But how long for the Cadillac, who takes the inside line again. Back on the boost for a moment. Mikey holding the outside, and through the corner now they go. The Cadillac with a bit of an advantage. Through the corner, the Red Bull takes the inside next and will go through again. Mikey Boy somehow, through defending, getting his elbows out as wide as possible, managing to take 5th. Don't see that very often for the drivers. A very, very good defensive battle there. That's the worst voice crack I've had in a long time on any stream. Do not clip that. Tom B trying to get in front of F1 Mikey Boy here. Still can't. That's the worst voice crack I've ever had. Nova Piper trying to get ahead as well of Tom B here. All involved in this action on lap 21 of 33 as they make their way around the final turn, and in a big pack as well. A lot of action is about to come your way down towards the first corner, ladies and gentlemen. Mikey Boy ahead. Tom B's now going to try and catch down towards turn 1. It's going to be a very good move if he can make it work. But once again, Mikey closes the door, gets his elbows out. He's just not letting anybody through, not letting anybody past. As Emmanuel and Romeo Blues change places. Darrell and Carmad Carl do as well. Darrell looks to 8th place ahead of his teammate. Carmad Carl trying to get ahead of his of the Ferrari, but not able to do that just yet. The Mercedes look to try and make a move too. Here comes Tom B and Nova Piper side by side. The McLaren should have the advantage. He does, and he's through. 6th place for him. There's F1 Mikey Boy as well. Gets through past George Russell, takes the outside line. Through he goes. Mikey into 4th. George Russell down to 5. And position changes on your screen as well. Nova Piper up 7 and going for an 8th place gained in this Grand Prix today. He goes ahead and does it. Tom B goes through past George Russell as well. And in 2 corners, George Russell loses 2 places down to 7th place. Might even be 2 more now. It's going to be 4 places lost in a minute for George Russell if he doesn't get his head screwed on straight. George now on the outside line. Can he come back from this? The 2 Ferraris push through and 4 corners lost. So 4 places lost. Now 5 places lost for George Russell, who isn't, I don't know if he's in the session anymore. Has he joined back? I'm not too sure. Down to P10 as up the inside for the Mercedes, which is a back marker, I believe. But what is going on for George Russell here? It's all going wrong, losing places. And we watch Saban in front by 8.7 seconds over MCL. In his own little world here, going for a win. Saban, let me remind you, won in Zandvoort, Netherlands on the 36 lap race. 35 points to his name. And second on the grid, took the win there. Here today, with only 11 laps left, everybody. 1 sprint race distance basically left in this race. And, wow, Saban ahead by a huge margin. Here comes Danny on MCL for 2nd place, and he might actually be able to do this. He's closing in. Closing in, not enough. 3rd place just for him right now, having to settle for it. Mikey as well has got Nova Piper getting closer, but it still isn't enough for them to make any overtakes between them. Emmanuel finds himself in the pit lane here for new tyres. Potentially a new wing here, though. Or is it just tyres? It is just new tyres. Then wing doesn't need changing it. As Danny finally makes that pass on MCL, taking it back underneath though. MCL 2nd place, the best I've seen him run in a long time for MCL. Absolutely brilliant race. He finished 2nd in Zandvoort after qualifying 4th place, down 3 places. Today, he qualified 8th place and now finishing 2nd as it stands. Emmanuel with a 10-second time penalty and retires from the session, and it is a virtual safety car here in Spain. The first version of a safety car we've had today in both races that WRC or MOR Esports now have hosted. I'm so sorry. Force of habit. Oh, I don't think I'll ever stop saying WRC. It's just imprinted in my brain. As Saban now in the pit lane, he's going to be getting on new tyres. And that's interesting. The leader in the pit lane comes out to the new hards again. Under the VSC, decides to get a cheap pit stop. And I think that's really smart. It's really clever. He knows he has the pace over the guys in front. Why not get some fresh slicks, come out of the pit lane, 2 people in front of him to overtake, and he only needs about 5 seconds overall to catch to be the leader again, then build upon that time. It's more than possible here. He's got a cheap free pit stop, basically. And drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC as we go racing again here in Spain, everybody. Romeo Blues with a drive-through penalty there. Not ideal at all if you get a drive-through, especially at this stage in the race. You can be massively angry in that can, especially if you've done okay as well. But all the way down to P15 without a time penalty. This has been the cleanest race I've seen for MOR Esports in a long time. Really, really good event. You can tell these guys race together on the regular because it is, you know, absolutely brilliant racing action from all of them. As Andy J. Price has got Malone in front of him in his sights. 6/10 of a second, though. And MCL has Danny, 6/10 of a second behind then, starting to catch him. And then Saban, of course, bringing the gap down. And the gap has come down slightly. Not as much as I thought it would, but I think it will come down eventually. You know, has he screwed himself over, though? I don't think so, because that gap is coming down. Yeah, now 3.9. Definitely not screwed himself over. The pace is unreal. On his way round. With a lot of speed here at the moment. George Russell then in the pit lane trying to get some new tyres on. And coming out as Andy J. Price makes an overtake on Meloon round the outside. As well as that, Darrell getting ahead of Tom B. A bit further up the track, the Ferrari into 5th position here. Tom B in the Cadillac having to just settle for 6th at the minute. As MCL now with a 3-second penalty as your leader. That is going to really annoy him because he is on for a race win here. Saban is catching, but he's on for a race win. I mean, that's the way it looks. There's Nova with a 3-second penalty. But MCL picks up one as well. Nova now with 1 in 4, and he's got Darrell trying to make an overtake round the outside. He's a bit too slow to get there. Not able to make the pass. Now catching, but it just isn't going to be enough for a commitment up the inside. Now taking it back again, sending the car through. Darrell goes into 4th place. Nova Piper down to 5th. And a brilliant overtake, then I have to say. The McLaren trying to fight him back once again, though. Oh, my God. In the chat, there may or may not be a clip of the voice clack. What am I talking about? The voice crack in the general. Happens to the best of us. Appreciate that, mate. Legend. Love that. So Sanders gone around and retired from the session. And that is a collision into the barrier, I believe, there. We're going to find, yeah, on the left-hand side, retired from the session there for Sander. And somehow, no safety car at the end. 6 laps to go. I'll be definitely watching that voice crack video at the end of this. I'm going to have a good laugh to it. I cannot believe it. Always happens. To be fair, though, it hasn't happened a lot recently. I don't know if it's I'm tired or what, but just my voice recently has had a lot of voice cracks in the streams. It's not ideal. Lap 27 to 33, then as I said, we are about 6 laps away from the end. Tom B ahead of Matt Connor, and Matt trying to take it back. Mounting the grass was Tom B there. Picking up some of those green bits of grass and back on the track, drags them onto the circuit. And the McLaren of Karma just trying to really get involved here, but in the minute just can't get past. Lap 27 to 33, and we've only had 2 drivers retire, 1 virtual safety car as well. It's been a massively clean race from my end in the commentary box, I have to say. There's Ace and Blake side by side between them. Blake goes into P9. These guys now are battling as F1 Mikey Boy is involved in P10. And he is on the two-stop strategy on the 3-lap old medium. Should have the pace here over Blake, and he does. Makes that overtake now in 9th place. He's got 9 seconds to Carmide in front, and then it's only a few tenths of a second to the guys in front of that. 9 seconds, I have to say, is probably not going to get found in 5 laps. Sander leaves the session. Him and Emmanuel, both drivers out of tonight's session, unfortunately. Saban has all of a sudden caught then Danny, and a move to the inside now. He goes through past 1. That's P2 gains then for Saban. The Haas car of Danny tries to take it back, but he just hasn't got the pace over Saban. As the Cadillac bring in the pace here into 2nd place. Further back, Mikey Boy just got into 9th place ahead of Ace, fighting with the man that led the race for so long. Heading round now to start lap 29 of 33, and it's MCL ahead of Saban. This is going to be the closing stages then for MCL, I think, in his lead. Got to start getting ready to wave bye-bye to it because Saban is catching up at a rate of knots and trying to go for the inside line. Very nearly spun himself around there. Down the main straight, somehow caught that, and now looking for an outside overtake on MCL. I think you might actually do it. The pace here is burning a bit more battery than you'd expect to try and get in front. Saban now braking much later on MCL, who was the leader. Round the outside for Saban, and on an extra pit stop, brand new tyres, he leads the Spanish Grand Prix once again. Out in front here in the Cadillac. And without a time penalty and the man behind him with one, he is in the absolute best position to win this race now with only 4 laps left. Oh, a Mercedes of Oliver heading very slowly there. I'm not too sure why, but brought out yellow flags and moved to the back of the track. Into the 30s on laps now. Only 3 more after this. Well, 3 more now, actually, as we cross the line. Here comes the Cadillac of Tom B. Thought he found a gap on Matt Connor there, but he just couldn't commit to it just yet. Saban's just got it all right, hasn't he? He's got it all right down to a T. It's 6-lap old hards. He's got he got a driver behind him who is on 11-lap older tyres, basically, which is just insane. And after making an extra pit stop, Saban comes out now with much more pace and already 3.2 seconds ahead of MCL. This gap is going to rise bigger than you could probably ever imagine here in the last few laps because of the tyre offset. MCL just won't be able to keep up with Saban's times on the 18-lap old hards at the very end. Saban's basically on new tyres compared to MCL's, the half the tyre life really, or even, you know, more. As that McLaren couldn't make the move on Darrell just yet into the top 4. Nova Piper as well does have a time penalty, which will unfortunately be a problem for him when he crosses the line, as that penalty will get added to his race time and will probably cause him to lose places here, maybe quite a bit, depending on how large the penalty is. Trying up the inside of the Ferrari, and that was very, very nearly a crash as he nearly took out his side pod. Tom B, he just can't do it, can he, on the penultimate lap? We've got 2 more laps to go then, everybody, to get the moves done that they want to. And Saban so far the one to win by nearly 5 seconds at the minute over MCL, and it will be more when MCL's penalty gets added. I mean, Danny's behind that by about a second, so Danny on for second place right now. And in the previous race in Zandvoort, Danny actually finished. I don't know if he actually raced, actually, never mind. Danny didn't race, so this is his first round of the season. It'll be his first points. In second place for his first points isn't too bad. Might not be amazing on points compared to someone that's finished second 2 times in a row or won 1 in second place, but it's still not bad at all for Danny to kick-start this season off with a second place on the track and on the championship. As you round off the final turn, across the line with your race leader for one final tour of the circuit, Barcelona, Catalunya. A hell of a drive from the Cadillac, who was battling all the way at the start then with Ace, wherever he is now in this race. Ace in 9th place, and after getting wing damage on a bit of a hefty move, he went straight into the pit lane, and since then the race has been pretty much over from him, down in P9, still in some really good point scoring territory, but nowhere near as good as taking that number 1 with Saban, who is going to go back-to-back wins in the Tuesday division. A domination drive, to say the least. 6.5 seconds ahead of MCL, and will be more with time penalties added. Round the final corners then, everybody, and Saban, who wins in the Netherlands. He's going to win here in Spain as well. The Cadillac across the line, and from a domination drive, Saban goes 2 for 2 in the Tuesday division. It's a win in the Netherlands, and now a win in Spain. Danny takes second place in the Haas, and third place taken by MCL on the podium. A fantastic drive from all of the top 3. Darrell comes home for 4, followed by his teammate 5, Tom B 6, Nova Piper 7, it's BPA's 8, Mikey Boy 9, Carmad Kyle crosses the line for the top 10, Blake 11, then comes Best Noah with Andy J. Price not too far back and potentially an overtake here around the final corner, getting closer in the Haas, giving it everything to the line, but he will run out of space, and round the final turn, Best Noah 12, Andy 13, 14 is Tesco Meal Deals, Maloon across the line for P15, and in the barrier, Luke M then will be making his way around to take P16. And then finally, George Russell. What even happened to George Russell, everybody? Taking, I think, second place on the grid, or third. He took pole in the previous race, and I think actually retired from the last race as well. It seems like that is what has happened with him today. Not an ideal race at all. But that is it, everybody. Tuesday division. Round 2 completed, and a fantastic drive from the top 3 and everybody. Very clean race. Here's your results. Race winner Saban, fastest lap to Simon. Matt Connor takes the drive of the day. Most overtakes to Blake, and the cleanest driver awarded to Darrell this afternoon. Saban, Danny, MCL on the podium, but Saban takes a race win 2 times in a row here in the Tuesday division in the Netherlands, in Zandvoort, and now here in Barcelona, Catalunya, Spain. What a drive. 35 points to his name. That is a whopping 70 already in 2 races. And there you go, everybody. A brilliant race. Really hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a great evening. I'll be back on commentary for you guys at 6 p.m. tomorrow for the Wednesday night. Have a good evening and good